Hello and welcome back to the Toffee Blues YouTube channel, your source for all things Everton. My name's Thomas, back with kind of the start of our 2020-21 kind of content. Obviously, we've had pre-season for a while. The last season seems like it just ended. And obviously, our first game away to Tottenham Hotspur on Sunday. Joined again by the lads from WeAreTottenhamTV. Lads, how have you been? Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, it's been great. I mean, missing football a little bit. I'm so excited that the season's back. Last time we spoke, I was a bit apprehensive about Jose Mourinho and about what he's trying to do at Tottenham. But I think since we last spoke, I'm fully on the Jose bandwagon now, and I think I'm quite positive going into this season. I'm not sure how far up we can finish, but I'm pretty sure that we can finish in the top four. I'm kind of quietly confident here. So yeah, I'm a bit excited for this season. I really am.
I think there's a bit more excitement going into this season than there would have been before lockdown for sure. But I just think there's a lot of holes in this squad that need filling for sure. That a lot of problems. If we don't sort them out, then we're in big trouble.
Yeah,
we'll definitely get into transfer business because I mean Everton have had quite a hectic kind of past 5 days. Spurs have obviously done some business. We'll have to talk about Hotspur as well because obviously that was the kind of original saga of this summer. I mean, we'll kind of start there. How has Spurs' kind of pre-season window been? Because obviously pre-season's been a bit random for some people. You know, we've only played 2 games. We've got half the squad away on international duty. What's it been like at Spurs?
Yeah, we played 3 games, I think, with the squad that were available. And then international break came and we played Watford away. In the 3 games prior to the international break, I thought it was kind of a good pre-season, playing lower league teams, Ipswich, Birmingham, Reading. And then when we played Watford, I thought that was probably the worst pre-season out of the lot. All of the players on international break, we missed them heavily. And the players that did play didn't really stake a claim, to be honest. But in terms of pre-season and the players that we've got in, we haven't been able to see the players. We saw Hotspur in the first couple of pre-seasons and he looked really good. He really did. And Matt Doherty, who we're really excited to see, hasn't made any appearances at pre-season yet. So we're just really excited to see him play and hopefully his debut against you lot and we can do something.
Yeah, because obviously Hotspur was the player that definitely was kind of, as I mentioned, the saga at the start of the window. Ancelotti seemed very keen. He seemed very keen, kind of going to Spurs instead. What was your kind of initial reaction when that one happened? Was that sort of like an area you needed to strengthen a lot? Because it definitely was for us, and obviously you ended up getting him. But was that a really good sign for you?
Yeah, 100%. It's a position we've been crying out for about 2 years now. That kind of midfield destroyer, all action, tackling in the centre of the park, winning the ball back. We really haven't had that for ever since really Wanyama has had that serious injury. We really haven't had a midfielder who's able to win the ball back so frequently in the centre of the park. So we needed Hotspur, and also because of our restrictions on our fund, because of our owner who's so tight, we're always on a very tight budget to get centre mid. So to get a really high class defensive midfielder for that kind of price, we had to go for it. It was a no-brainer. And it was actually Everton, I believe, bid more than Spurs, if I'm right. And Hotspur said he was only going to join Tottenham. So that's how important this was, getting this deal over the line. It's such a vital signing for us.
It was like the Moussa Sissoko story all over again.
Yeah, it's not the first time
I hear about Moussa Sissoko turned his phone off on a plane to ignore Ronald Koeman. I've heard all about that one. And then, because then we kind of switched our attention after that to Alan, Decore, James Rodriguez, obviously very different player, but they are the business. What have you kind of made of Everton's transfer business so far this summer?
I've been quite impressed. Obviously, Ancelotti's bringing in players he knows as well. I think he's signed James Rodriguez about 3 or 4 times, hasn't he? Alan as well, he's a player he knows from his Napoli days. And Decore as well, he's a Premier League proven player, and I think you've made 3 very good signings there. But I think it's going to be difficult to bed them all in at the same time, if I'm honest. I think they might take a bit of time to settle in together, especially James Rodriguez and Alan, who haven't played in the Premiership before. So I think give it time and they will be very good signings, but I feel that they will take a bit of time to bed into the Premier League.
I feel like Everton have addressed a serious issue in their squad, though. A lot of last season, they were playing Tom Davis and Andre Gomez, and even Sigurdsson, I believe, right, at centre mid sometime.
Yeah,
so that was a massive issue that Everton had to address to really progress. And it's actually 3 really high-class additions, I must say. 3 players who could easily play for top 6 teams, I think. So I think Everton should be really happy with their business, what they've done. and those three players could really help them compete and push for a top 6 place. Especially, Allen is going to be a really good base for you, and then Doucouré's got a lot of energy, and obviously James has got that X factor.
Yeah, as well, because obviously when we played Spurs last season in the kind of restart, the centre midfield was definitely the hole in our team that needed to be like desperately addressed. It wasn't just that game, but that was kind of where it really, it really came to light how bad it was and how much we needed to recruit there. And obviously Ancelotti took one look at our centre midfield and decided to recruit. Where else do Spurs need to recruit now? Because I've heard people talking about a striker. Maybe I'm not really too sure about that. I mean, obviously, I've watched parts of the documentary, obviously, from last season. There was talks that you needed a striker then. Is that something you're still looking for now?
100%. That is our number one target right now as a sub-striker. We've seen it time and time again. Harry Kane, he's due an injury every single year between, 2-3 months. You know what I mean? He misses a big chunk of every single season, and it hurts us every year. I think that we can compete without Harry Kane in the team, but we can't compete without Harry Kane and without Son and everything that happened last season. I think it was all well documented, our injury problems last year. But a sub-striker's got to be at the top of our list at the moment. It is very urgent for us to get one, and I'm actually really annoyed it's got to this stage and we still haven't got one. It came out in the press saying that Spurs have got funds available to sign a sub-striker, but we still haven't signed one yet. And, Ollie Watkins going to Aston Villa today, and it comes out in the press that we went in for a late bid. But why are we going in for a late bid? I don't understand. Why are we not getting our targets and getting them over the line like we did with Hojbjerg and Matt Doherty?
But it's not even just a sub-striker. It's not even just a striker just for when Kane's injured. It's like we don't have another option. If Kane's not working, we don't have a striker to bring on to kind of change things up, given, ask more questions of the defence, pump the ball into the box or things like that. There's just no one. So if Kane's not working, that's it. We're not going to score pretty much that day. So it's really frustrating. We've had this problem for so long now that it's needed addressing for a long, long time. Levy's had more than enough time. I thought it was actually a joke that we didn't in January that we didn't get a sub striker. Like we were saying, I was saying we must get a sub striker in January, and the fact that we didn't was what probably cost us Champions League last season. And if we don't get another one over the line this summer, it's going to be
a hard slog this season, especially with these fixtures at the first 2 weeks of the season. And now the TV fixtures have just been changed. We've got Newcastle on a Monday, Carling Cup or Carabao Cup on a Tuesday, and Europa League on a Thursday. Like, Harry Kane's not going to be able to play all those games. We're going to need a striker in, and I just can't see it happening so quick as well, though. That's the problem.
It's really frustrating. Should have had it over the line already.
Yeah, because I was actually just about to move on to your schedule, of course, because when we last spoke, we were kind of battling for European football. We ended up 12th. You managed to get up into the Europa League spot, but you kind of ended up in that Europa League spot where you start quite an early qualification campaign. What are your kind of thoughts on that schedule coming up now? Are you concerned for the start of the season because of that, or?
Yeah, massively concerned. I think that Europa League is going to be such an important competition for us this season. We need to go far. We need to try and win that tournament, especially with Jose Mourinho at the helm. And these 3 qualification rounds are really screwing up the start of our season because, like I said before, we've got Carabao Cup as well. The first 2 rounds of the Carabao Cup are the same weeks as the first 2 rounds of the qualification rounds, and we've got Premier League in there as well. So it's like 3 or 4 games a week for the first 2 weeks of the season. And
it's brutal.
And yeah, it's literally brutal. Like I said before, on a Monday, league game, on a Tuesday, Carabao Cup, and then on Thursday you got away tie in Europa League as well. So it's literally thick and fast, and the way I see it, I think we're going to have to play the under-23s in the Carabao Cup because I just can't see any other way around it.
We actually have a period during this run where we have 7 games in 13 days.
It's mental. 7
games in 13 days. How can you do that? It's a joke. It's an absolute joke.
With one recognised striker in the squad.
That's less than a game every 2 days. That's how can you? I don't know how you can keep up with that. I don't know how they've aspired to get, conspired to get this kind of fixture list for Tottenham at the beginning of the season, because it's ridiculous, and Mourinho has a right to be absolutely frustrated and annoyed, especially as well because we've just had an international break as well just before the season starts, so he hasn't even had time to prepare his team. So we're just going to have to use our squad hopefully get through the qualifiers.
What I want to know is that why this Nations League is happening this season, because everyone knows that this season is being crammed into a small space of time. Why didn't they just cancel the Nations League for 1 year? You know what I mean? This Nations, no one really cares about it, let's be honest.
Yeah, because I remember when we got into the Europa League in that Koeman year, our season started very early, but it wasn't like cramped. You know, we just started playing a lot of games, and it happened to Wolves last year as well. Obviously, I mean, they actually had a very good season. You know, all things considered, start from that point. But so, kind of speaking there, would you now say that is the Europa League almost like your priority, kind of going into these games, or could we see some sort of rotation against Everton, and then the Carabao Cup is that kind of just whatever play the academies?
I believe we play our strongest teams in the league in these qualification rounds. I think it'll be of a mixture of first team players and maybe the players on the bench, and in the Carabao Cup, I think we're going to play a complete second string side. To be honest,
yeah, I wouldn't get too excited. If I was you.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've spoken a bit about transfer business. Where would you kind of say Spurs' kind of main weak points still remain? We spoke about striker, but I know there's been concerns about the defence for the past couple of months anyway. I'm not sure if they're still going, but are they kind of the main weak points?
Well, the good thing is our main weak points of last season we've kind of addressed in the window: fullbacks and centre mid, which is what we've addressed. So obviously it remains to be seen if the signings really do address the issues, or if they're still going to be a problem. What I would probably say is, I would say at the moment, if you're looking at the weaker spots in the team, you have to say probably still fullbacks. Even after the Doherty signing, that's probably the best way to get us.
I would say more of our left side than our right side, because our right side was really our weak side, but I think our left side now is probably weaker than our right side.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I would say. And obviously we got this formation. We in possession we play with 3 at the back, and then out of possession we defend with the 4 at the back. So obviously you got a lot of pacey players like Richarlison up front. And if in transitions, if you're clever, you could definitely find spaces in the fullback areas while we're changing formation. So that would probably be a weakness.
And also for me, a team is like cogs, and they all make each other tick. And when one position or 2 positions if you can't completely fill them and you don't have confidence in them, then it makes the whole team look a bit disjointed. If you want an example, you look at Man United before Bruno Fernandes, they looked really poor. And then as soon as he comes in, he makes all the cogs turn. And I think it's going to be a bit similar with Hojbjerg in there and Matt Doherty in there. And I think that you're going to see a lot more solid team next season with Spurs. And that's why I'm a bit more excited.
Yeah, it's interesting to talk about fullbacks, though. I'd probably say our wide positions are maybe some of our weakest. I think we're a lot better if we kind of just use the 2 up top, with Charles and Cavalier. But in pre-season, we've almost made a shift to a kind of a 4-3-3, which is providing us with a lot more width. But it just depends what we really use kind of going into this game, whether we stick to a 4-4-2 because that's what the players know, because obviously we've had this international break and quite short pre-season, whether we switch to a 4-3-3. I mean, you can never really tell with Ancelotti. He is quite flexible. But then kind of on the other hand, if you think that fullbacks are kind of Spurs' main weak points, where would you look to Everton's main weak points now, and which of your players are you going to look to exploit those areas?
Well, where would you say Everton's weak points are on the fullbacks? You say?
Oh no, I'm saying where do you think Everton's weak points are?
Where do I think
which of your players
are? Yeah, for sure your centre backs. I have to say that. I know you linked with Tomori, but for me, Michael Keane, I haven't been impressed with him since he joined Everton. I don't know how he keeps getting in the England squad. I think he signed up for 30 million. I think you signed the wrong Burnley centre back, to be honest, at the time. Yeah. Yerry Mina, he's obviously very good at attacking corner kicks, but I think when defending corner kicks, he's probably not as good. I think they're probably your weakest point, your centre back partnership, and I think you've been crying out for a centre back. Have you signed one this summer? I don't think you have you?
No. Well, we've had Mason Holgate, whose performances have improved massively last season. He should have definitely been in the English squad over Michael Keane. Michael Keane, to be fair to him, got a bit better during kind of the lockdown game.
It's really surprised. I think that's probably where he could be. Yeah. And obviously with Harry Kane coming back to England.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. If Harry Kane's kind of full fitness and you stick him against, Michael Keane or Yeremina from a set piece, but then it depends even then, because Mason Holgate's injured now. I doubt we'll have Tomori in by then. Yeremina, I'm not sure he's actually played. He's back in training, but he hasn't actually played in pre-season because he's been injured as well. So we'll have to see how that goes. He could end up playing against Branthwaite, who was actually quite decent kind of when he came into the side, which I was impressed with for a very young player. But I mean, if looking at Spurs, I always look to Heung-min Son as your kind of main danger man. And I know that's quite a generic thing, but he asks so many questions of defences. And if your defence isn't the most organised or it isn't the most experienced, you really struggle against players like that. But I'm also concerned about Doherty if he does play, because the way he gets up and down, that can cause real problems for our defence. Because it's a question that not many teams kind of ask now. I mean, a lot of teams obviously have the kind of overlap and fullback, but when you play the genuine wing backs, wide players, it asks completely different questions of defences that sometimes we aren't even ready for. Like when we played Wolves, they play that system a lot, obviously with Doherty and Johnny as well. They absolutely tore us to shreds because we couldn't handle the width in their side, and they were just much, much better than us. And we clearly struggle against sides like that. And kind of, I don't want to dwell on this for too long, but I am concerned going into it. Really, I'm just going to kind of give my prediction because we haven't had our full team in pre-season. Obviously, we've signed these centre midfielders, which I'm very happy about. But Decore could probably come to the side. I'm not sure if Alan's going to be particularly ready to come in straight away, and who knows about James Rodriguez, but he will probably not play kind of centre midfield straight away. I'd imagine we might see him off the right, maybe in the early days. But our centre midfield, yes, we've signed players, but it's not like they're completely ready to play. We have only just signed them a week before the start of the season, which I don't blame the club for, because obviously everyone's kind of struggling to do business. Obviously you've got your Hotspur and your Doherty, but what are your kind of predictions for the game? How do you really see it going?
I'm hoping for a fast start. I think in our pre-season, we've had a bit of a trend in our first 3 games where we have a really fast start, pressing from the front, try get a few early goals, and then kind of defend that lead in the second half. So I'm hoping for some more of the same. Hopefully, if we can get an early goal against you lot, then I'm hoping for a 2-0 win, 2-1 win, maybe something like that. But if we don't get that early goal, I think it could be a nervy game and it could end up maybe a 0-0 or a 1-1, something like that.
I think actually we're maybe a bit lucky to be playing your first game of the season, because I think you've just got your new signings in quite recently, so they might not be just settled in the side. They might not even play a lot of them on Sunday. So I think if we were playing you later down the line, then I think we'll be more worried because these new signings would be settled in. So I think we've got a more settled side at the moment, seeing it's the first day of the season. So I think I can probably see a 1-0 win to Spurs, 1 or 2-0 win, very similar. I don't think it's going to be a very open game. I can see it being quite tight, more like a chess match.
Yeah, I think it'll be from a neutral perspective, I think it'll be a pretty dull game. Jose against Ancelotti. I think, it was last time, and I think it will be again this time. But I think we will just nick it.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially considering fitness and that. I'm not sure we're both going to turn up, try and play really high tempo football. I mean, it's not really in the brands of either sides at the moment. But I'm really in two minds, really, because I think if we get Decore in straight away, it's not like he really needs time to adapt to the league. But maybe the system, I can see him hitting the ground running. And then it just depends whether he trusts kind of players like Alan and Rodriguez going into the side straight away. But they're kind of it for my kind of football questions. And obviously at the end of these opposition view, we always kind of ask a random question. We've asked you before about your pineapple on pizza. We've asked you about your favourite film. So we've had to come up with a new one. Kind of, this goes to both of you. Have you got any kind of, what's your best, worst, or kind of weirdest interaction with a footballer or celebrity you've ever had?
Weirdest interaction with a footballer?
Well, I think maybe going out to David Genila's hotel room.
When we were quite young, I think it was around 97, 98. Me and my brother and my family went up to Leeds, and we stayed in the hotel where the Spurs players were staying just before a Leeds United game. And it was the days where George Graham was our manager, David Ginola was playing for Spurs. So how old were we at the time?
Yeah, so it was 99. I was like 7.
Yeah, so he was 7. I was 12, 11, or something like that. And we got a wind of where David Ginola's room was, because we were speaking to one of the waiters or the guys delivering the food, and we said to him, where's David Ginola's room, please? He's like, I'm going there now, but don't follow me. And I don't know why he told us that. So obviously we followed him. And David Ginola opens his door room and sees like 2 little boys just creeping around the corner trying to see him. And apparently the waiter got a proper earful because of it. And
but he wasn't happy at all.
He was not happy at all.
This guy, we got him in a lot of trouble. I don't know if he still has a job or not. I hope he does. Our bad if he doesn't. But this is a long time ago if he's watching. But yeah, that was quite an interesting interaction, seeing Ginola getting quite angry.
Yeah, that was it.
Well, yeah, I'm not sure I really expected that, but definitely a very interesting story. So that's it for all my questions. Thanks both of you for coming on again. It's always a great insight when we're playing Spurs, and thank you all very much for watching. Go and check out We Are Not Tottenham TV.
We Are Not Tottenham TV.
I know. We Are Tottenham TV. Check out all their videos, of course. Really brilliant channel. Thank you all very much for watching, and join us next time on the Toffee Blues.
Cheers, guys. Cheers.